Hey, Mark, are you registered to vote?
I am registered to vote, Michael.
Well, that's great. Well, did you know that more than 60% of eligible voters have never been asked to register?
Wait, do
And
I
then you're
answer that?
supposed to say, and then you're supposed to answer that,
I thought we were just
Mark.
going. What
And
happened?
then, and then you're supposed to answer
I
that.
thought we were just going.
That's okay. That's okay, Mark, because let me tell you about Headcount, the nonpartisan organization that works with the music and entertainment industry to get fans to vote. At headcount.org, you can update or check your registration status. You can also request an absentee ballot, get info on early voting, find your polling place, and even see what's on your ballot. Millions of people get purged from the voter rolls every year, which means that you should be checking yearly. The deadline to register to vote in some states is actually already passed. So double check there because I know that some deadlines have been pushed back. So yeah, if you want to check all that out, go to headcount.org. Again, make sure that you're registered to vote and get all the facts at headcount.org.
Yeah, it's already passed for Texas, which was October 5th, right?
Yeah,
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 I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it's October 5th, though.
So definitely make sure that hopefully people are registered, but at this point, make sure that you're informing yourself, looking at the different policies, and remember that it's not just a presidential election, guys, because this year there have been many changes to polling places and vote by mail laws that have resulted that have been a result of COVID-19. So even though again this is a presidential election, there are many more candidates on the ballot besides the president. Local elected officials affect our lives every single day. They decide who to prosecute, monitor the quality of our drinking water, and choose the leadership of our schools. 30% of voters take time to vote and then leave some part of the ballot blank. This is a missed opportunity to choose the leaders of our communities. And remember, it's okay if you're unfamiliar with some of the more local positions. For example, there's a mayoral election coming up in El Paso, which is where Mark and I are from, and I knew of only two of the candidates. So the other day, I went online and I checked out some of their policy stances. You can do the same thing by going to Ballot Ready for a nonpartisan guide to your entire ballot. From there, you can compare candidates based on stances on issues, biography, or endorsements, and then save your choices to use when you vote by mail or when you're in the voting booth. You can even request an absentee ballot or make a plan to vote early or on election day. Remember, this election matters. Make sure that you have a plan to vote. Go to ballotready.org and enter your address to make a plan to vote and vote informed.
Guys, please vote.
Please vote.
This is very important,
Very,
and
very important.
we wouldn't be taking time out of the podcast if it wasn't important. So,
Exactly. Hey, Mark, are you ready for the intro?
yeah, Michael, I'm ready for the intro.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 14 of We Digress, the podcast that's a hot mess. I am your host, Mike Madrano, joined, as always, by the beautiful Cloud Mark. How you doing today, bud?
I'm beautiful this week?
All right.
Dang.
You know what? I take it back. I gave him an ego.
Dude, Michael's trying to get fresh with me. I see
Dude,
how it is.
I'm trying to get in those pants, baby.
Ooh, baby. But don't vote twice. That is illegal. That is
Yes,
very
don't.
true.
So if you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching the VOD on Twitch, we did just talk about voting here in America. Yeah, make sure you do it. There's a
So,
lot at
Michael, what was
stake.
that website again for nonpartisan info?
Oh yeah, you can go to ballotready.org for nonpartisan information and a look at your entire ballot. And that's not just nationally, that is the local ballot as well.
Right.
I actually had this conversation with one of my the other members of management at work because my company is doing this thing to promote or to encourage people to go out and vote. And this manager was telling me, she's like, I'm not going to go vote because what's the point? And I
Bruh.
said, well, look, you don't have to vote in the presidential election if you don't want, but you should definitely vote in your local election because those are the people that most directly represent you,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, listen, if you don't want to vote in the presidential election, go vote for your senators, go vote for your judges, go vote for your mayors, like you guys, who are here in America, um, use your voice. Use your voice, go vote. It's not only a constitutional right, but I think it is something that every American should do. Go out and vote. With that said, Mark, there was a debate yesterday. I'm
There
already
was
going off
a
rant, by the
debate
way.
yesterday.
And we're not going to touch too much on it. The gist of it was a lot more cordial than the first debate. I should mention it was the vice presidential debate, not the presidential debate.
Right.
But it was a lot more cordial than that first presidential debate. The gist of it, I would say, was Kamala Harris, the Democratic vice president nominee,
Yeah.
was speaking directly to the American people. And Mike Pence, the incumbent vice president, seemed to be really only speaking to his voter base, which was really weird because the whole point of these debates is to sway the undecided voter, right?
Right.
So it was really weird in that regard. I think that overall Kamala Harris is the winner of the debate. Granted, I am very biased in that opinion. I feel like Mike Pence was very boring with his answers. He did have one great response at the very end when he was responding to a young American asking about questioning why our political figures seem to always be going at it with each other. And I think it was the only like human response that he gave.
The only human response. Holy shit, dude.
And it felt very genuine when he gave it. So I will give him that. He basically said like, look, you know what? We like to argue, we like to debate. Everybody, likes a good argument, whatever. But at the end of the day, we are American citizens, and everything that we do is to try to better America. And again, I think that was a very genuine statement. It seemed very genuine. So I will give him points on that. Overall, though, I think the real winner of the debate.
We know who the real winner is.
Was everybody who uses Twitter, because my God, there were some great fucking memes that came out of it, dude. One, you have all of the Kamala Harris faces.
Yeah, the Kamala Harris faces.
Oh my God, our girl Kamala. It was great, man. Just listening to her every time she would get interrupted and she would just hit pens with the excuse me, I'm talking. It was just great. There was a fly that landed on Mike Pence's head and sat there for a good 5 minutes.
Flies are attracted to dead things, so
That's true. But I think that the best thing that came out of the fly was that we saw that whoever is running Joe Biden's Twitter accounts, they're putting on a fucking masterclass because they tweeted out a photo of Joe Biden holding a fly swatter.
Yeah, and his face in that picture. Yes.
Yeah, he just had the biggest shit-eating grin on his face. And then I shit you not, dude, it was either right before the debate ended or right after it ended. They started selling a Joe Biden branded fly swatter.
Fly swatter, dude,
website.
that's so good. If you want to know how to use social media for your presidential campaign, just look at Joe Biden.
Yeah, and I tweeted this out. I said, do y'all want a president who's a clown, or do you want to elect a president who has the best meme game I have ever seen?
His meme game's pretty good.
It's just so good, so good. Yeah, you know what though? We're gonna stop talking about politics.
We had to bring up the fly, right? We just had to
at least bring up the fly.
Yeah,
it's just
it's a meme. It's
our boy the fly. Yeah, so let's get into some of this gaming news, my guy.
Gamers.
We're gonna start off with a couple of really short, small stories. Mark, there's a company called Razer. They make computer peripherals, gaming peripherals.
No way, dude. I actually have Razer. If you're listening, I'm using your keyboard and your mouse. So I know you guys are watching. So if you wanna send some over, send some. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Razer's great. I love Razers.
Did you know that they have a prepaid credit card now?
No way, dude. A prepaid credit card.
Prepaid credit card. It's only available in Singapore and Malaysia.
What? I'm not in Singapore and Malaysia.
And you know what's great about it, dude? It fucking lights up.
Dude, oh my God, an RGB credit card?
No, it's not RGB.
It doesn't,
RGB,
okay.
Sadly. But it lights up.
Razer.
So the Razer logo on it lights up. Really cool. There's 3 versions of the card. There's a standard black card, the virtual version for a wallet app, and then there's the light up card. And it's designed so customers can earn, quote, unique gamified rewards. It allows the
Dude.
cardholder to track, score, and redeem rewards based on tasks and everyday transactions. And it can be used alongside their e-wallet app,
Yeah, like
Razor Pay.
LEDs.
Yeah. Again, only available in Singapore and Malaysia. This is my favorite thing though, because Razer does this all the time. The light up card is only available to the first 1,337
Oh
people who
my
signed up for
god.
it,
That's perfect.
which is of course elite in
Elite,
gamer
yeah.
speak.
Mm.
But that's something they do all the time. Anytime there's anything limited edition, it's always 1,337 of those things are available.
Okay, Razor, I see you. I'm
Yeah,
using
so
your peripherals, just saying.
but yeah, dude, I just thought that was a really interesting story.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because Razer's actually doing a lot, like outside the like gaming industry. I mean, I don't know if it was earlier this year they released their first like consumer pair of wireless Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah, I remember
Um,
those, yeah.
I think it's the Razer Opus, and
I think you're right, yeah.
they don't look gamery, right? So they're definitely trying to branch out and not just be known as the gaming peripheral company,
Right.
which is really cool. In other news, Mark, are you gonna upgrade your graphic card soon?
No.
Yeah, good, because you fucking can't, dude.
I can't.
Because one, it's expensive. But two, it looks like the RTX 3080 and 3090s are gonna be out of stock until 2021.
Yeah, I kind of expected that on.
Yeah, so the CEO of NVIDIA came out and said that the company expects shortages through the remainder of the year, saying, quote, I believe that demand outstrips all of our supply through the year. He also went on to say that the issue is not with the supply of the card, but with the demand of the cards, saying, quote, even if we knew about all the demand, I don't think it's possible to have ramped that fast. We're ramping really, really hard. Yields are great. The product's shipping fantastically. It just gets sold out instantly.
They're ramping. I like it. They're
Which seems
ramping.
like a really weird thing to say to me, like, oh, the supply is too high. Or the demand is just too high, but our supply is great.
Yeah, it's like obviously your supply is not great if it's not matching the demand.
Yeah, clearly the supply is not where it should be if it's people are
that's like the definition of not being great.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It was an interesting take for sure. I wanted to touch base on something else, Mark, and I actually didn't put it in our show notes, but I guess this came to light what's today? Thursday, so Tuesday night. Apparently there is a this issue where a subsidiary of MSI America
I saw that.
You saw that? Where they were
scalping
RTX 3080s and the 3090s.
Yeah, I mean scalpers in the first place are a huge problem,
Yeah.
But when it's MSI, which is what are they like mostly known for? Just computers and laptops and stuff?
Yeah, monitors, peripherals, components. So apparently there was a subsidiary, and I can't remember the name of it, but they were upselling these cards on Amazon, and people started doing digging, and they found out that yes, this was a subsidiary of MSI America. So the way it works, right, is MSI is based out of, I believe, Malaysia.
I think so.
And in order to operate in all of these other countries, they basically create other companies, right?
Yeah.
So they have an MSI like in Europe that's based there to follow their laws.
Starlit partner.
Starlit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Thank you, Ty. And then they have the office, the company here in America that follows all of the American laws. And so they were upselling these cards. People found out about it, and essentially what it came down to was, according to MSI, they ended up having access to inventory that they shouldn't have had access to. So this company Starlit, they essentially sell cards that they sell components that you can't market as being brand new.
Right.
So maybe it's slightly defective, there's some cosmetic damage to it, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll refurb it and then they'll sell it. apparently they had access to inventory that they shouldn't have, and they were turning around and reselling it.
Yeah.
It seems like this wasn't like an issue of the higher up saying yes, go ahead and do this, but it was just some rogue employee who said, "Well, fuck it," you know.
well, we know who's not going to be employed after this.
Yeah, pretty much. But I
Yeah.
wanted to just touch on that real quick.
Yeah, they did MSI did apologize for what happened. So
yeah, and then there are other people who go much more in depth and in better detail than we are. You can go ahead and check them out on YouTube.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the release for the 3080 has been a big mess. Honestly,
it's just been bad with all the bots buying them up. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is, and I don't want to keep using this as an excuse, but I do think it was a result of COVID, right?
yeah.
It's the same reason that like webcams have been out of stock, microphones have been out of stock, a lot of other computer components have been out of stock. You know, this is stuff that's in high demand because a lot of people are stuck at home.
Yep.
A lot of people are on computers, and you know, we'll see. Let me see. What is AA on? So, dude, I went to buy a microphone the other day and had no idea they were in such high demand. They are, man, because everybody's using them for business
mics,
meetings, for
webcams,
school.
especially mics and webcams. I would say.
Yeah.
All those Zoom meetings are just like. Eee. Speaking of Blue Yeti, I also use that. So Blue, you know,
I also use
hit
a
me
Blue
up.
Yeti. So Blue, hit us up.
Ooh. Spontaneous crashes when
so
overclocking.
Ty says they've also had issues with secondary manufacturer cards causing spontaneous crashes when overclocking. I know that seems to be a big issue. From what I've seen specifically with the 3090s, it seems like they may have just rushed the cards out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was watching.
It's not well. Overclocking in itself is pretty. It's gonna run your card pretty hard, so there's always a danger of it, you know, overheating or exploding. It probably won't explode, but there is always a danger of it overheating, and it all depends on your cooling system. There's a lot of things that go into it. You know, your cooling system, how well ventilated it is, how recently you cleaned the inside of your computer.
Yes, please make sure you're cleaning the inside of your computers.
That can improve performance just because you got more airflow. It's cooler inside your computer, and you know you don't got stuff overheating, which is what you don't want. You don't want your computer to overheat. That's your livelihood, damn it.
I mean, it's the livelihoods of some people. It's mostly just for us so we can play Genshin Impact.
Yeah, it's for us to play Genshin Impact. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Why would we play it on mobile, dude? It's so bad on mobile.
Or PS4. I would play it on PS4. Honestly, I'm pretty addicted to that game. Yeah, just buy a new one, guys. If yours breaks, just buy a new one.
Easy. Let's move on real quick. Mark, there's a game called Monster Hunter.
There is a game called Monster Hunter.
And do you like that game?
It's okay. It's not my personal cup of tea, honestly.
Oh, really? Because there's a movie coming out.
LOL. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a new movie coming out, and it's done by Constantine. Are
you good, dog?
What happened?
I don't know.
My brain. It's from the same studio that did the live action Resident Evil movies. So basically it'll be directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. He did the entire, you know, live action Resident Evil series. It's gonna be starring Mila Jovovich as she's gonna get isekai'd into Monster Hunter. And if you guys don't know,
say that with such disdain.
I'm not a fan of Mila Jovovich. I've said this before. And no, you did not, Mr. World talk this later. But I am not the biggest fan of Mila Jovovich, and I think that mostly stems because I absolutely abhor the live action Resident Evil movies. I think they're awful.
But how do you feel about Ali Larter?
I do enjoy Ali Larter. I thought she was a good Claire in the live action Resident Evil movies, and I've been a fan of hers since Final Destination because she's in the first two.
That's fair game.
Yeah, fair game.
Fair game. They released a trailer for this new Monster Hunter movie. And I say trailer, it was like 13 seconds.
You know what I am looking forward to? Tony Jaa in that movie.
Okay.
Because Tony Jaa is fucking he's a cool dude. And yeah.
Yeah, so I mean we have a little, should we read the synopsis for this movie? Should we read it?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
When an unsuspected sandstorm transports Lieutenant Artemis and her unit to a new world, the soldiers are shocked to discover that this hostile and unknown environment is home to enormous and terrifying monsters immune to their firepower. In their desperate battle for survival, the unit encounters the mysterious hunter, whose unique skills allow him to stay one step ahead of the powerful creatures. As Artemis and Hunter slowly build trust, she discovers that he is part of a team led by the Admiral, played by Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman?
Oh shit!
That's Hellboy.
Danger so great it could threaten to destroy their world. The brave warriors combine their unique abilities to band together for the ultimate showdown.
So
honestly,
yeah, like I said, it's an isekai. If you guys don't know what isekai is, that's a type of anime where somebody gets transported into a fantasy world. That's literally what happens.
Dude, honestly though, I might watch it just for Ron Perlman.
I love Ron Perlman. I love Tony Jaa. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool. But I just have zero hopes for it because I hate the live action Resident Evil movies, man. I hate them.
Hey, but Mark, there's a reboot in the works though.
There is a reboot of the live action Resident Evil. That? We've gotten a poster and some of the cast, and they said they're gonna do the origins. Actually a poster release? It was a fan made poster, but it looked really cool. Okay. So, I'm liking the casting so far. Like, I'm not completely sold on some people.
My boy Robbie Amell, dude.
But yeah, Robbie Amell as Chris. Yo, that's some good casting right there. I gotta say, that's some good casting right there. But who did they cast for Leon? I forget his name. I'm not sold on him. We'll have to see. We will have to see how he does. I'm not sold on him, but I think the cast overall looks pretty good. And if they're actually gonna stick to the origins, then because I say they are, and if they actually do that, it could be okay.
So I have the article right here.
Okay, cool.
So Constantine film
Constantine.
A new adaptation to add to the ever-expanding Resident Evil movie franchise. Let me see here. Starring in the roles of the iconic game characters will be Maze Runner's Kaya Scodelario as Claire Redfield.
I like her. I think she'll be a good Claire.
John Kamen as Jill Valentine. She was the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I like her too, so I think she'll be a good Jill.
As Chris Redfield. Tom Hopper as Albert Wesker. Avon Jogia as Leon S. Kennedy, and Neil McDonough. I've never learned how to pronounce his name. As William Birkin. He was in Captain America, okay? That's all I remember.
Like the one I'm most not convinced of is Leon's. Who they cast for Leon. I'm not convinced. Leon is probably if not the most beloved Resident Evil character, he's one of the most beloved Resident Evil characters.
So let me ask you then, like, because these are all people who have they've been in some pretty big movies. How would you feel about, for Leon, getting somebody sort of unknown, somebody who could really capture the essence of the character, someone who's really familiar with that character, someone who did some acting back in high school,
oh no,
who showed some range, that he could play an old man, but he could also sing and dance.
Dude, Leon does so much singing and dancing.
I'm of course talking about Cloudmark.
I honestly don't think I would be a good Leon. Like,
I think you would be the best Leon.
Leon has such a cool, charismatic aura, you know? That's why so many people love him. That's why he stars in Resident Evil 2, 4, 6, and a bunch of CG movies. It's great, you know? And Koki bring up a point that just made me laugh. Leon reminds me of Tobey Maguire's Eddie Brock.
Tobey Maguire wasn't Eddie Brock though.
He wasn't Eddie Brock. It was Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, dude.
It was Topher
Eric,
Grace.
who was fucking Foreman from that '70s show, played Eddie motherfucking Brock, dude.
Oh
what are
my
we
God.
doing? Oh, and then you know, fucking Tom Hardy steps in and says, "Hold my Venom."
Yeah, Tom Hardy's great as Venom. But that just made me chuckle. You mean to tell me those aren't the same people? No way, dude. But yeah, we barely have anything. You know, there was just the cast, and basically they announced that they're doing it. So there's no trailer. There's not a lot of like them in costume. There's no pictures of the set or anything. We just have what they're going for and who they cast. That's it. So I think it's too early to be hyped or dissuaded. Well, no, because you can be dissuaded because of the company doing it.
You know what? That's fair. That's a fair point. That's a very fair point.
Because like I've said before, and I will say again, I hate the live action Resident Evil movies. I hate them. I think they're awful.
So as far as Resident Evil goes, this makes the new animated series.
Yeah.
The Netflix live action series.
Right.
Which still don't know what the fuck that's going on with that one.
Wesker's daughters. Nobody asked for them.
And then we have this live action reboot.
Right.
So
Sonic
maybe?
and Detective Pikachu. That's two.
Name one good video game movie. Yeah, you know what? I still haven't seen Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu is great.
Movie was phenomenal. Like, actually, it was so good. It was so well done.
First Mortal Kombat movie, great. I loved the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, fuck, what was it called, dude? It had Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it. Oh, Doom.
Doom. Oh
great,
no, Doom.
Great fucking movie,
Doom.
dude.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Oh man, that's awful. That just reminds me of the interaction between the Twitter account for id, who made Doom, and The Rock. I don't remember who said what, but The Rock was just like, "Don't worry, none of them, not all of them can be winners. I mean, I was in Doom," and id Software was like, "Dwayne, I thought we had something." Oh man, that's so funny. But you know what? As a Resident Evil fan, I just hope they're all good. I hope they're all great, and I hope that they prove me wrong and that they make some good content, because that's what I'm looking for. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully, I know obviously you're much more invested in Resident Evil than I am.
Yeah.
The most hype I got was seeing you get hyped for Resident Evil 6 when that came out, and then that, you know, then we don't talk about that beyond that, you know. So
that was a sad day.
Sad day. But let's move on to another story. We're gonna bring it down a little bit. You know, we're having some fun, but let's get a little serious here. In a previous episode, we talked about the workplace misconduct occurring within Ubisoft. As part of that, the CEO did come out and say that he was going to enact a lot of changes, and it seems that we have our first response, and that is that CEO Yves Guillemot, still not pronouncing that right.
Probably not.
Probably learned at some point. He published the results of an employee survey about workplace misconduct. Nearly 14,000 employees took the survey anonymously, and 1 in 4 said that they have either witnessed or experienced workplace misconduct in the past 2 years. 1 in 5 of those people said they didn't feel, quote, fully respected or safe in the work environment. The survey also noted that women and non-binary employees witnessed or were more likely to experience harassment than men. The survey was created by a third-party research firm, and as a result of all of the ongoing allegations and the survey that came out, many of the top executives and creative leaders have stepped down from the company. These include Tommy Francois, Maxime Belland, Serge Pascott, Giannis Smollett, Michael Ansel, and Ashraf Ismail. Which some of these we covered in the initial story when we talked about it. It was a very early episode of the podcast. So it's good to see that some changes are being made. In addition to this, and as a result of this, new mechanisms are being put in place to anonymously report harassment accusations, and they are revising their mandatory company code of conduct, excuse me, and they're conducting compulsory anti-sexism and anti-harassment training across the company. In addition to this, they are looking to increase the diversity of their workforce, and they want to have at least 24% of the staff be comprised of women by 2023.
Yeah.
So
at least they're doing something.
Yeah, it's good to see that, they said, hey, you know what, this is what's going on, we're gonna do something about it, and they're actually doing something about it.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, they really didn't have to be this public about it. I think a lot of times with big companies that have these allegations hurled against them, allegations that are proven to be true, people kind of expect them to be wholly transparent, and not a lot of companies do that. The ones that are transparent, I applaud for sure. So I'm glad to see that Ubisoft is being somewhat transparent about this. There are some instances with some executives who are leaving over other allegations that are being denied, so some of that stuff's being taken to court, but
it's honestly insane that there's so many people, that said yes to having been discriminated against. That's Jesus, dude. Yeah,
dude. I mean, 1 in 4. This is out of only 14,000 employees. I mean, I'm sure they have hundreds, maybe thousands more, since they have studios all over the country. I mean, all over the country, all over the globe,
all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we'll see. Hopefully, they continue to head down this path, and they are able to diversify and take these accusations, seriously.
That's a good first step. Yep.
Which kind of brings me to this entire episode is just me like bringing up other shit that aren't on the show notes, Mark. So I do apologize.
No, I'm just like,
yeah, dude. Mark, what am I gonna bring up next? So if any of you guys are like, like me, have been on the internet for a long time, might be familiar with a company called Rooster Teeth. They created Red versus Blue, which is the longest running web series on the internet. And they recently had some shit go down. And it kind of speaks back to this, something we've talked about in previous episodes. Actually, in the first episode, there's this like power dynamic between, these people within the company. So it recently came out that one of the employees was sexting with fans, using the power he had, being a face of this company, to solicit nudes from fans, and to, in some cases, plan to meet up to have sex. And this all just came to light this week, and it's like, personally for me, it's very disappointing, because this is a company that I've been a fan of for, years. Since
long ass time, man. Middle school, probably.
Since like 7th grade. Actually, since 2005, because people used to rip their episodes from their website and upload them on YouTube, and this is when YouTube was in its infancy, like it had just launched. And yeah, man, it's just very disheartening that still there are still these people in these organizations and these companies that are using their whatever perceived power they have to do really shitty, horrendous things.
Yeah, it's a pretty big yikes.
And we said it in the first, second, maybe the third episode. It's good that this stuff is coming to light, and it seems like the company took swift action, and we can only hope that all companies do this.
Yeah, 100%.
Not just within the gaming industry or within the online industry, but even like
everywhere.
This kind of stuff happens
everywhere,
unfortunately. Everywhere, like Mark said.
Yeah.
So let's continue to call people out on their shitty behavior. And
yikes.
I don't really know how to transition.
I don't know how to transition that either.
'cause, you know, it got kind of heavy.
So Michael, you excited for the PS5?
Mark, I'm really excited for the PS5. Great, solid transition.
Oh man, I didn't.
Solid,
I just
solid.
went for it. I was like,
Yeah, dude,
might as
sometimes that's
well.
all you can do, you know.
Sick transition, bro. So recently, Sony invited a number of Japanese YouTubers to lick the PS5. They just invited them to their home offices in Tokyo. They were like, "Come here and lick this PS5," and a bunch of Japanese
Oh my
YouTubers went there
god.
and licked it. And I was so
They didn't
jealous.
invite any VTubers though, which I'm very
Yeah,
disappointed.
okay. I'm a big
Where
VTuber fan.
where are the VTubers at?
I'm a big VTuber fan, you know? So I was a little disappointed that there was no VTubers there. But no, for real. They didn't invite them to go lick it. They invited them to get a closer look at it, you know, check out the hardware and stuff like that. So they released these videos on YouTube. They're YouTubers, so you know. And there's a good video that Michael linked me that goes really in depth in the hardware of the PS5. So I would encourage y'all to go look for it. I don't know if you have the link still on you, Michael. But,
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, that was a.
It was put on the oh my god, the full video is on PlayStation's actual website.
Yeah.
Actual YouTube channel. But the video I'm linking is from IGN, and it is just a recap of it. It was an official teardown, actually, of the PlayStation 5 console. And Mark, do you remember? Was it 2-3 episodes ago we were talking about the Xbox and like how it's actually not as big as people thought. It's actually incredibly tiny.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! The fucking PlayStation 5 is massive, dude.
There's so many good memes coming from it. So, okay, in Dark Souls, I think it's in Dark Souls, you fight a giant tower knight that has a humongous tower shield.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a dude that replaced the tower shield with a PS5. So this guy's like, I don't know, 20 stories high, and then there's your little character next to it. So it's just a giant. The caption was like how big the PS5 is. It's great.
Dude, it's funny because people called the Xbox a mini fridge and they referred to the PS5 as a router. Everyone was fucking wrong, dude. This thing is fucking massive. Like,
dude, it's massive like my ego.
I was gonna never mind. I was gonna say your will to live.
Oh, probably not. That's more Xbox Series S.
But yeah, dude. So, in the videos, they showed off some gameplay. They showed off some load times. They showed off a little bit of the DualSense. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I almost said the DualShock, dude. It's
whoa, we're in a new era, Michael. Come on, bro.
They also showed the stand and how it works, you know, to display the console vertically and horizontally, which it's a very involved process to convert, which makes no fucking sense to me.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
You know, though Xbox did kind of you know, meme that a little bit and said, hey, if you want to convert the Xbox from vertical to horizontal, you just turn it on its side. So that was fun. But let me see here. Things that were noted was that there's no noticeable fan noise or heat exhausting from the console. There was a mysterious silver latch showed on the inside of the console, which some people think that might be the latch you use to take the side panels off to install an expandable expandable memory. Let me see. They showed off the DualSense controller, which has haptic feedback, replacing the old rumble motors. They have this is something I'm excited about, adaptive triggers. So you can adjust the resistance on them. This is something that you would only see on like high-end controllers for like FPS players. So like Call of Duty Pros, Halo Pros, where you can adjust the distance that you press so that you can activate your gun quicker.
Yeah.
And then built-in microphone, it is USB-C, and they did confirm that the X button will be confirmed going forward.
Yep.
So I guess in Japan it was different. It was the circle button.
Yeah.
Was to confirm. So
Yeah. If y'all remember back in the day when Final Fantasy VII first came out, you'd have to press circle to freaking accept things. And that was like my child brain was like, what? Circle's back. What's happening? What?
There were no videos of the dashboard or the UI though, so they're still keeping that a secret. What's interesting though, Mark, if you want to talk about this a little bit, the actual teardown that Sony put out.
You're an actual teardown that Sony put out. No, okay. So
sorry, did I miss the joke?
Did you see my flick?
No, I have my document up, dude.
Dude, my freaking
you just hurt your wrist trying to make a stupid joke.
Dude, my wrist hurts. Oh my god.
Just so that you guys know, Mark is about a 2 on the funny scale. Because he's shit.
Yeah, I'm a little shit.
Got him.
Yeah. Honestly, what I was most excited about was the heat. What is it called? The heat dip thing? Heat sink, thank you.
What did you call it?
The heat dip, because I'm dumb. Because that heatsink is humongous. And if you guys had the first generation PS4 like I do, it's a freaking jet engine. And it, like, my wall behind my PS4, like, gets set on fire. And I'm just like, oh my god. But as so far, that heatsink looks like it's gonna do, and from what everybody's saying, like, it does some work. So it's gonna be pretty cool to the touch.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be ultra quiet, so no more jet engine. And I think there was something said about the Xbox, right? Where like it was so efficient in expelling heat that it made it like a furnace. I think I saw a story about that. I don't know if you saw that or if anybody else saw that.
The console a furnace or the
the output.
Exhaust?
So it was like it was super hot. It was like just super hot. Like it was like basically a space heater with how much hot air it was putting out.
See, that scares me though.
That does scare me.
You know what I mean? Because like, especially if you have it like in an entertainment console,
yeah,
and it's putting out that much heat, and you have all your other devices in there, that kind of frightens me. You know what I mean?
But that frightens me. But yeah, that is that's gonna mess up your wood if you have a wooden console. It's gonna mess up a lot of things if it is as hot as they're saying. But yeah, at least your console won't get the red ring of death.
That's true.
Mine did. And rip in peace my first Xbox 360.
First Xbox 360.
That was a long time ago.
That was, dude. I didn't own a 360 until I got to college.
That's right, you bought one, huh?
Yeah, I was just like, it's like $150. Fuck it, and I just bought it. And then a year later, I bought the fucking the PS4.
Yeah,
I liked that Xbox though, dude. It was good. You know, there's a lot of good games on it.
It did, yeah. Xbox 360 did some work. That's probably my favorite Xbox console. It was good. I put a lot of time into it.
No, you had the original Xbox.
Yeah, I had the OG Xbox.
But you didn't have a 1?
No, I didn't have a 1. Oh, well, my dad had a 1. Mm-hmm. Or I guess he still has it. Oh.
Dude, I have mine somewhere back behind the curtain. I feel bad because that was a gift from my family, and I played it for like maybe 2 months, and then I just stopped playing it. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Grandma. My bad. Love you.
It happens. But yeah. That was my highlight of the breakdown of the PlayStation. I don't know if you had a different highlight that you wanted to bring up.
No, dude, honestly, that heatsink was like...
That heatsink was chef's kiss, you know what I mean?
But it looks like that's the main reason it's as big as it is to accommodate that heatsink.
And I'll take that because my jet engine PS4 is actually insane. So give me that heatsink. Cause yeah. I'm not about that life. Also,
go ahead.
There's different colors that you can put on your controllers. I don't know.
That's true. You RGB.
RGB in those controllers. We love us RGBs. It makes it go faster, yeah. But
I like though that like the thing that we're most excited about is not like the chipset. It's not like the RAM, the SSD.
No.
It's the heat sink.
It's the heat sink.
Our monkey brains are like, oh, shiny.
Okay, yeah, because like my computer has a good like graphics card and SSD and
Yeah.
whatever, and I love my PS4, but god damn, is it it's so loud when it's like when it's trying not to be set on fire. It's so loud, and I just want to play without it blowing
Have
out
you
my
tried
ears.
taking your own advice and cleaning it out?
Dude, I have cleaned it out. I cleaned it out like so often, and it's just like, nah, dude, this is just how loud I am. Yeah,
Well, then
like
you also have the it's the White Destiny one,
the
right?
White Destiny one, yeah. But yeah, playing Ghost of Tsushima, when it was first loading up, all you hear is exactly
Dude,
like that.
just buy a new PS4,
Oh
dude.
yeah, just
Easy.
buy a new PS4. Easy.
Easy.
Let me forego the PS5 and just buy a new PS4.
Dude, you're good. Dude, $200 for a PS4 or 500 for a PS5. I'm just saying, dude.
Yeah, it
One
did freeze a second before, and it was just like your PlayStation's overheating, and I was just like, "Uh-oh, we
Wait,
might
did it
be in trouble."
actually?
Yeah, it did. It did.
That's not good.
Yeah.
So some other news that did come out is the initial size of the PlayStation 5 hard drive is going to be set at 125 gigs. Only
Yikes.
664 gigs of that is actual usable storage, which means that you are losing out on 161 gigabytes due to the software, the operating system. I couldn't think of the fucking word, Mark. The operating system and the UI and whatnot. That does also include Astro's Playroom,
Yeah, it's just Playroom. That's the
which
game.
is going to be pre-installed. In addition to that, actually, Xbox news is going to have a terabyte hard drive, and that is going to drop to 802 usable gigabytes for storage. So you're gonna want some external storage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's like what's Call of Duty Warzone up to now? Like 250 gigs or some shit?
Dude, I don't want to talk about it. That every fucking time I had to stop playing it, dude, first of all. But every time
Yeah.
that game would update, it would be like,
Yeah.
oh, 50 gigs, oh, 80 gigs, 100 gigs. Like, what are you updating that the fucking files are that fucking big, bro? Like, come on.
Yeah, you can choose between having Call of Duty Warzone or like 8 games. That's not true.
Well,
A lot of
dude,
games are huge.
the conspiracy theory is that Activision was making them so because they were actually a lot bigger on console. So the conspiracy theory, put on your tinfoil hats, everyone, is that they were making it big so that you couldn't download anything else on your PS4. So that would
What?
be the only thing you could play on your PS4 or your Xbox.
Holy shit, dude, the 300 IQ plays. What the hell?
Dude, the files are like, in some cases, the console files are like twice as big as the PC files.
Holy moly. That's absurd, dude.
It is insane. Absolutely insane.
That's absurd, dude.
Also, do you like how is still able to sneak Call of Duty into this podcast somehow?
Dude, Michael's freaking purpose in life is to sneak Call of Duty into every podcast
Yeah, dude. Always, always, always.
for always in
Marco,
eternity.
speaking of Call of Duty, dude, did you hear that franchising leagues are a thing?
Yeah, dude, franchising leagues are a pretty cool thing.
Like the Call of Duty League is franchised. You know what else is franchised, my dude?
LCS is franchised.
LCS is franchised. You know what else is franchised?
LEC is franchised.
The LEC. And you know what just recently got announced as being franchised?
Is it CB LOL?
It is CB LOL.
Which is, if you guys don't know, that's the Brazilian League of Legends professional scene. They're one of the biggest, how would I say, player bases in all of League. And we recently did see their top team, INTZ, at Worlds, but sadly they were eliminated in play-ins.
Well, yeah, dude. Their name is Ints, dude.
Yeah, they were inting all the way back to Brazil, you know. But yeah, that's a good step forward. Brazil is one of the biggest player bases in League, and it was pretty much only a matter of time until they franchised. And I think it's good. I hope it makes it more competitive so that they have better showings at Worlds, and because they haven't had the best showings at Worlds. They've had moments, right? Moments of greatness where you're just like, damn, they took out, I don't know, RNG or EDG or something like that. And you're just like, whoa, CB LOL. And their fans are some of the most passionate fans. You know, like win or lose, they're still just like, CB LOL numero uno, let's go.
I think that's just like a given for their esports scene in general, dude. Because like
Yeah.
even in Counter Strike, there's some of the best players in the world are from Brazil, and they do have like the most passionate fan base.
Yeah, they have insane fans, and watching their finals for like their pro scene is actually really cool all the time because they have just like it's huge, you know. And I think they had Pentakill performing at one year, and if you guys don't know, Pentakill's the heavy metal band in League of Legends, and it's so cool. It's yeah. I mean, I'm excited. Hopefully this I think is LCK franchise. I'm actually not entirely sure. I don't think they are.
Well, so I was gonna ask you about that actually. So to my knowledge, this is the third franchise league that Riot has.
I know LPL is franchise. Oh, they're going to be? Yeah. LCK isn't franchise yet, but they're going to be. I know
So this is
LPL is.
fourth?
Yeah, this is the fourth one.
So it's LPL, LCS, LEC, and now
CB LOL. Yeah.
Okay. How do
And
you how do you feel though about them franchising? I know you said it's going to make it more competitive, but do you think that's good for like LoL esports across the board, or do you want to see like the smaller regions continue the way that they're running their tournaments and whatnot?
I think smaller regions, like if they get to franchise, that's like the next big step to becoming a force in League of Legends. Even from this play-ins, it was a lot more competitive from the smaller regions than it has been in years past. Like it's a lot more higher level play, and it felt like every game it was just it wasn't a one-sided Omega stomp. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, yeah, this is from the big leagues, and this is guys some schmuck off the streets. But it actually felt like, hey, these guys they're making a name for themselves. They're coming out here, they're going in. INTZ took a game off of Liquid TL. Rest in peace. And that was cool. It's always cool to see that the smaller regions are making waves in the World Championship.
So Aaron says the only franchise, if it's profitable, you should always want franchising.
Yeah,
it's
profits
weird, right?
mean a lot.
It's weird because like obviously esports started out as just like, hey, we're just a couple of teams playing in fucking the basement of some hotel room, and now it's like
in Freak's basement.
Selling out, yeah, dude, it's selling out stadiums, right? And so I think we're still in this weird like era of esports where, right, we're transitioning from like, hey, we're just like 200 teams in this open bracket and we're gonna do this, to like, no, now these are I wouldn't even say like the 10 best teams in this game, but like these are the 10 franchises who bought into this league, right? The 10 teams that bought in. And you look at the LCS, right? There were organizations that were approved that people weren't necessarily happy with because some of these more history teams were not able to make it into the franchise.
Yeah, like Dignitas did not make it into LCS at the start, but now they're in because they bought out. Who the heck did they buy out?
Was it no? Immortals took over Optic.
Right.
It wasn't Echo Fox, was it?
Was it Echo Fox?
Or was Echo Fox EG? Because EG wasn't an original franchise.
Right. EG took over someone too. I don't remember who Dignitas took over.
EG took over Echo Fox.
Yeah.
Aaron, please use your big brain, give us the knowledge.
But yeah. And Dignitas, that's where Skara made his name. We all love William Skara Lee. He's great. He's great. Yeah, Skara's great. We all love Skara, right? Yeah.
Well, and this thing, guys, we even saw that with the franchise teams for CB LOL.
Clutch.
We have Pain Gaming, Clutch, I forgot. Dude. So for CBLOL, we have Pain Gaming, Ints, Kaboom Esports, Flamingo Esports, Focal, Prodigy, Furia Esports, Loud, Red, Canids, Rensga, and Cruzeiro.
Sure.
And in the article that we got this from, it was the same thing. Like some of these more history teams within the Brazilian league scene were not able to, or were not approved to become franchise leagues or franchise teams, excuse me. So
it is all about the money when you're getting franchised,
that's
honestly.
true. I mean, like, look, right? 100 Thieves entered into the franchise. It was their first major esport. You know, they originally tried making it happen with Call of Duty, didn't work. They tried making it work with CS:GO, didn't work. And then they just like paid a shit ton of money, got into the LCS.
And it worked.
And it worked. So
that's it's good. It's good. Franchising is good. They'll have more stability for their players, so they don't have to worry about not eating, which is always a good thing, you know. So it's good, and we'll have to see how the story develops because not every league is as lucky as the Brazilian league, such as
especially, dude.
Such as the OPL.
Dude.
If you guys know what that is the Oceanic Pro League, which is Australia, New Zealand for League of Legends.
And this just broke yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
yesterday. And OPL is being dissolved, and they will cease operation immediately, which is really sad because we saw Legacy Esports at Worlds play-ins actually make a big splash. They played really well, and they were close to getting out of play-ins. You know, this would have been one of the first OPL teams to actually get out. And what's good is that all the OPL players will be given like they can join the North American LCS without taking up an import slot. Yeah. So that's something, you know, and we all know that NA loves importing talent because instead of nurturing our player base and getting ourselves better, we're just like, let's just buy this guy.
But I mean, look, Mark, if somebody's looking for a misfortune main,
if somebody's like, don't look at me because I'm not good.
Weren't you like a top something misfortune player?
Yeah, at one point.
What was it? Brag a little bit, Mark.
Brag a little bit. Like 2 seasons ago, I was like the third ranked misfortune in the NA. Which
Listen,
is,
if any LCS teams are listening, if you want a top 3 misfortune player, my boy Cloudmark.
That was 2 years ago. Now I'm not even close to that. I'm not even close to that now. I'm yeah. Those sites it was on op.gg. So that's like what we used last time, and I'm okay with that. Nah, I'm the best misfortune in the world, dude. I'm the best misfortune player in the world.
I'm the best misfortune player in the world.
I'm the best. No one can stand up to me.
He's the best around. No one ever gonna bring him down.
Yeah, but it's really sad because Legacy did just have their really good showing at Worlds. And it's so sad, dude, because a lot of the people that are from OPL, like Spawn's from OPL, right? Aaron, Spawn, and who else? There's another caster that's also from OPL, but there's
we keep asking Aaron for help. We're gonna pay him.
I know, right? But they're so passionate about League of Legends pro play and all of that, and it's just sad to see that, you know, they basically lost their job. Rusty, that's who it is, Rusty. Yeah. And I hope that all the players there, you know, find new teams or like something else to do, you know, that they have somewhere to go, but it's pretty sad.
Yeah. And Aaron did bring it up, and something that we have here in the show notes. They are still gonna get they're still gonna have qualifiers held for the 2021 midseason invitational and for world championships for next year, which is really interesting that they announced the immediate stoppage of the league and the immediate closure of of the Riot offices in Sydney, but they're still gonna have the ability to play at MSI and at Worlds next year.
Yeah.
So like, what does that mean for these teams then? Because it doesn't seem like Riot's gonna have infrastructure there to host like tournaments and events and stuff. So is it going to be independent? Like, is another organization going to step in, do it everything independent, and that's how we determine who's going to MSI and going to Worlds? Or like, how is that going to work?
I don't know. I don't even know where they would go from here. It's a big mess, honestly. Yeah, they'll have to find their own sponsors and do their own tournaments, but that's got to be, I don't know. That just seems like it would be a gigantic mess.
Yeah, it's
It'd be like EU Masters. So EU Masters is like the amateur league, I would say, in Europe. Okay, I can see it being like that. A lot of talent for the LEC has come from there. So, and it's shown off a lot of, young rising talent that people can pluck from and put them in like Fnatic or G2 or their big orgs or something, you know what I mean? Which is, I guess that's nice, but yeah, it's still sad. Rip in peace, OPL. We knew you well.
It's interesting though, because the article that we have, it's from Esport Insider, does note that this decision came following Riot Games generating $1.5 billion in revenue in 2019.
Oh baby!
So
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a shit ton of money. Holy fuck, dude!
Yeah.
Oh my god. I think that's actually lower from previous years though. Like I think they were hitting like 2 billion and stuff in previous years.
Then Mark, buy more skins, bro. You already dropped $600 in the game.
You know who needs to buy more skins? Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, the teams aren't making money, but Riot is, which is a big thing. Like 100 Thieves is making a lot of money because of their merch game, but other teams I Golden Guardians aren't making as much as them.
Yeah, well, but I think like, and my bias may be showing a little bit, but 100 Thieves is unique in that they are a much more, they've diversified their portfolio, right? Because they're not just an esports organization. I do think they invest more money into merch and more money into content because it's a better revenue generator for them than their esports. Versus like, Golden Guardians or FlyQuest, who they're known for the league teams and they also sell merch on the side.
World Quest,
Sequest.
I like them.
So I think that it's a little different, but I mean, then again, you have like Liquid, right? Where Liquid seems to be another like fucking enigma where they have. I don't feel like they're as diversified as 100 Thieves, but they are still such a big fucking name that they're able to generate so much revenue from their merch.
Yeah. Didn't Team Liquid win the international one year? That's a lot of money. I'm pretty sure they did.
Wasn't it when Double Lift was on the team?
No, the international for Dota.
Oh. Lol.
Yeah.
No, I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're 4-time back-to-back.
Yeah.
ILCS champions. Not that that means anything, because they won in 2017.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, but like, then again, they do have that Marvel merch collab, which is pretty good.
That's gonna be pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited for that.
Where's the 100 Thieves anime collab? 100 Thieves Dragon Ball Z collab. Where is it?
Oh man! But speaking of Team Liquid,
actually, Mark, before we get to that, maybe we should take a quick break.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after a quick word from our sponsors. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to... I just fucking stroked out, dude, doing that. I completely stroked out. Welcome back to the second part of the podcast. As always, you can find us at We Digress Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can find Mark at cloudmark_ on Twitter, Instagram, cloudmark27 on Twitch. I am Mike Madran0 on all those platforms. If you're enjoying the show, you can support us by going to anchor.fm/we-digress/support and donating as little as 99 cents a month. And all donations go to improving this super scuffed podcast. Or if you're
yeah.
you can go to WeDigressPodcast.com. That'll redirect you to our merch. You can buy a shirt or a hoodie and show your support that way. As always, thank you guys very, very much. Mark, speaking of Team Liquid.
Group A in League of Legends World had their super day this morning, I guess, because they are in Shanghai, and that is, different time zone than what we are doing.
You made me stay up, dude.
Yeah. And Team Liquid was in that group, along with Suning Gaming, G2, and Machi Esports. And going into it, I didn't have the highest hopes for TL, especially after the first game where they got stomped by G2. I was like, uh-oh. But they did rally back and actually play really good League of Legends their last 2 games in Worlds. They played really, really good League of Legends that I wish that they showed earlier. Because they would 100% be getting out of groups, but sadly they were eliminated. They finished with 3 wins and 3 losses. G2 finished with 4 wins and 3 losses. So they were the second place team, and Suning finished with 5 wins and 2 losses. One of those losses being to Team Liquid. And Team Liquid actually stomped them that game. So I was pretty happy with it. I was pretty happy with how they played. And honestly, I was very hard on NA the first couple days because it didn't look like any of the teams that NA sent wanted to win. Like they were even trying to win. But this morning, Liquid actually looked that they were trying to win games, and it was nice. It was nice to see that at their best, they can destroy Suning and G2. It makes me feel good as a North American player that we can compete, because we haven't been able to compete in Worlds for so long, and it's so sad. AA Ron asks, if G2 can beat Suning, does TL beat them again? I think with all the momentum that TL had, they would have beat Suning again. And Suning would have lost to TL, then G2 back-to-back, so the momentum would have been on TL's side. And I think Suning would have been a little tilted, especially since TL annihilated Machi Esports. Oh my god, was that game a massacre. Holy, that would be like if I was laning against Michael. Michael doesn't play League of Legends.
I don't play, dude. Mark's saying a bunch of words. I don't know what it means.
Michael doesn't play League of Legends. You know how hard I would destroy him? That's literally what TL did.
Step on me, Mark. What?
TL probably put on the most dominant performance in Worlds so far. When they played against Machi Esports, but in the end of the day, because they screwed up early in the tournament, it didn't matter, and they are now eliminated. But the way they ended, I'm happy with the way that they played, which I don't usually say when we lose. So it's something to take away from NA. There's gonna be... I'm sad, dude. I'm still kind of sad. I really thought Team Liquid was gonna get out. I got hyped up when they absolutely destroyed Suning and Machi. I was really, really hyped up, and it all ended because G2 ended. So what happened? If you guys didn't watch at all, it was a situation where G2 basically had to beat Suning to force a tiebreaker between Suning and TL, and G2 hard-inted that game. They hard-inted that game. They were poised to win it, and then they were just like, you know what? Let's dive 5 million times and just die. Let's just die. Fuck it. Sorry, TL, but we're just gonna go die. And it looked like they were trolling at times, honestly. And I was like, holy shit, dude. What are you guys doing, But I can blame it on, I can say I blame it on G2, but at the end of the day, it's Team Liquid's fault for not showing up against Machi the first time and losing to G2 at the start of the day. So they had the ability to get out under their own power, but you can't really blame G2 for it, It should have been under Team Liquid's power, And sadly, they're gone, but they showed some bright spots, and I'm happy with the way Team Liquid performed. That's my takeaway from this.
Do you think coming into this tournament they were the best NA team?
I think FlyQuest is still, well, that's a good question.
I mean, obviously it's right. We still have TSM and FlyQuest. Their groups aren't over yet.
TSM's gonna lose their group really bad because they're dog shit.
Yeah, they're 0-3 right now. And FlyQuest, who's 1-2 in the groups.
TSM failing at Worlds is like me having to pee every stream. It's gonna happen. It's not a surprise that it happens, and I don't know if anybody's actually surprised that it happened. I don't know. Hey, Ron, you're a TSM fan. Are you surprised that TSM failed you at Worlds?
Just with the, yeah.
It's every other time they've gone to Worlds, they've failed, and they've gone like what 7 or 8 times. So I don't know why anybody would think any different. I have a lot of hope in FlyQuest. I think if FlyQuest beats DRX, then I think they're gonna get out. But if FlyQuest somehow beats DRX and then insta Unicorns of Love, I'm gonna rip my hair out. I'm gonna go insane because I'm just gonna go insane, Michael. I'm gonna go insane.
So so that's Group D, right? So we have Top Esports is a 3-0.
Right, Top Esports
2-1.
I don't think anybody is gonna beat Top Esports, so I think it's a race for second place.
Okay, so then in that case, right, you have DRX is 2-1.
Right.
FlyQuest 1-2.
Right.
Unicorns of Love 0-3.
Right.
You are for sure taking FlyQuest over Unicorns.
Yeah.
So that'll put them at 2-2. You're calling it they're losing to Top, so that's going to put them at 2-3.
Right.
So it really is going to come down to
DRX. Yeah. Because I think DRX is also going to lose to Top, but beat Unicorns of Love. So they'll both be 3-2, right?
So it's coming down to that game.
I don't know. FlyQuest will be 2-3 and DRX will be 3-2. So then if FlyQuest beats DRX, it'll be 3-3 for both of them. Then they play a tiebreaker game. And
shit, dude.
I think if they beat them like the first time, I think they're going to take that tiebreaker game. Yeah. That's what I really want to happen, because I believe in FlyQuest right now. I think Ignar has really, that's the support player for FlyQuest. He has really good game sense and really good plays, but I think he gets a little hyphy sometimes and kind of goes into stupid things. And I think that's how they lost to DRX the first time, because they were poised to win that game, but they just kind of inted at some points. And I think if he just calms down a little, which I think he will because they did have a day off, I think they can beat DRX, and I'm hoping that they do. I'm hoping, Michael. I'm hoping. My NA is showing. I think TSM's going to take... So let's go back to the Group C and talk about TSM, since they're the other NA team.
Group C, Gen G, 2-1.
Yeah.
Fnatic, 2-1.
Right.
LGD, 2-1.
Right.
3-way tie. And in 4th place, TSM at 0-3.
Yeah. I think AA Run is right. I agree with him on that. TSM's going to end 1-5. And I think they're going to take a game off of Fnatic. Because I think Fnatic's going to pull a G2 and like kind of troll a game. And I think TSM's going to take a win off of Fnatic. And that's actually going to be really bad for Fnatic, because I think that's going to force them into a tiebreaker with LGD. And depending on which Fnatic shows up, they either win or lose that one.
Okay.
But
go ahead.
I do think Gen G is going to be first.
All right.
And I'm still going to say Fnatic's going to be second, with LGD third and TSM last.
Who did Gen G's loss come from?
Gen G lost to Fnatic? Right? I'm pretty sure that they lost to Fnatic. Right? Did they lose to Fnatic? Yeah, they did.
Well,
yeah, they did.
They either lost to Fnatic or LGD. It's a coin flip, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Fnatic. And yeah, Fnatic. Okay, thank you for that confirmation. I just think Gen.G took LGD to school. They took TSM to school. And the only close game they had was with Fnatic. So I see Gen.G coming out of this group 5-1.
Okay.
So 5 wins, 1 loss. I see Fnatic coming out second with 4 wins and 2 losses. And then LGD and TSM are going to get eliminated.
TSM non-factor.
TSM's not a factor in this group. They already have 3 losses. And once you get to 4, you're basically out. And I think they're going to get bopped by Gen.G. And it's not even going to be close.
What if, bear with me, wishful thinking, what if they end up going 3-3?
Well, if they end up going 3-3, then they'll probably be in a tiebreaker with Fnatic, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because I do like Fnatic over LGD. And then I don't think they win that tiebreaker. I don't think they can beat Fnatic. I think every laner for Fnatic is just better. And it's sad to say, but you greater than NA when concerning Fnatic and TSM.
If I'm an NA fan, best I can hope for is 3rd place.
If you're an NA fan,
that is like super, like that's just pretty much out of the question.
If you're an NA fan, I say block out the way TSM plays and root for FlyQuest.
If you're an NA fan, root for EU.
Root for Fnatic. We're gonna root for the West, because we suck. So TSM, there's no way. There's no way we win. FlyQuest. I'm like putting everything on FlyQuest. I said this when the groups were first starting. FlyQuest was gonna get out through a tiebreaker with DRX. And I think that is gonna happen. I'm calling it here.
Somebody clip this and send it to FlyQuest. Let them know that they have the power of the cloud mark on their side.
The power of the cloud mark on their side.
The one and only cloud mark. Just kidding. There's like 3 on the internet.
Yeah, But Aaron brings up a good point of TSM. Bjergsen, the mid laner for TSM, got his signature champions and they played awful. Spica, the jungler for TSM, got his signature champions and they played awful. And their bot lane's getting outclassed pretty much every match. And unless there's a massive turnaround. Yeah, and Broken Blade got destroyed. And these are on their comfort champs, these are on comfort picks. This is what you want them to be,
Was there a huge patch difference between like where the end of like summer finals and then going into Worlds? Was there like a really big patch that hit?
No, they lock the Worlds patch to, I think it's 10.19 right now, and our current patch is like 10.20 or 10.21 or something.
So they've been playing on this patch for
everybody's informed of what the patch for Worlds is going to be, so they know exactly what everything is going to be. It's there's just no excuse, no excuse. You have this information, you have all this information, and it is really sad to see them play when so I'm going to talk about their second game where TSM got a bunch of comfort champions. They had Speak on Nidalee, Bjergsen on Zillion, and Doublelift was on Senna, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but Senna's a good champion, so I can't really like knock it against them for picking Senna because she's really good. But the biggest thing that I got from that is Zillion's a dog shit champion right now. Even if you're Bjergsen, he was a god tier Zillion. It's a bad champion. I don't know why you would pick it. But the biggest thing I got from that game, Spica got 2 early kills as Nidalee. So he was 2 on Nidalee. And he started building support. Who the fuck are you gonna support, Spica? You're gonna support a Zillion? Yeah, let me get this Athens. Let me heal this Zillion so he throws another bomb. Let me give some attack speed to Senna. Oh boy, we're doing so much damage. I'm a good player. You're not a good player, dude. You were snowballing. You were snowballing on one of the best junglers this patch. You were snowballing and you built supportive to support 2 support champions. Ridiculous. Somebody
clip that and tweet it at him, please.
It boggles my mind how you would think that is a good way to build. It actually boggles my mind. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted and ashamed that we're from the same region.
Mark, you just blacked out. Are you okay?
I don't think the comp is bad. Because you have your carries in the Nidalee and Renekton, and you just need them both to get ahead. And they both, Nidalee got ahead. Nidalee can take over games. We've seen Nidalee take over games. In top esports, Nidalee take over games. Damwon would Nidalee take over games. Where she's just like legendary and some shit. And it's just like, you got these 2 early kills. You were snowballing. It's happening. We can do this. And then you ruined it. You ruined it at the shop. You ruined it by buying the wrong items. It's like, if I have $5 and to win a game, I have to buy a $5 footlong, but I go to McDonald's and get 20-piece chicken nuggets. That's what it is. That's what it was like.
What the fuck with that analogy? I had to buy a $5 footlong, but I bought a 20-piece nug instead? What the fuck, dude?
It's like, you're still getting food, but it's the wrong thing. Like, we told you what to buy to win, but you bought the wrong thing. Now you lose.
My God.
Shut up, John. There's no tax. There's no tax on Summoner's Rift.
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just, like, that game, once I saw that game, I was like, there's no way TSM wins any games. That was the worst play I've ever seen. And that was probably the maddest I've been at TSM. Like, I already hate TSM because I'm a CLG fan. But I was rooting for them because I'm from NA, and NA does shit at Worlds, so I need to root for them. So, I don't know. Just for pride, right? And when I saw them play that, I was like, I was fuming. Like you see how I'm fuming right now? It was worse. I could not believe my eyes. I did not want to watch the rest of that game. I didn't want to watch the rest of League for that day. I couldn't handle it. It was ridiculous. I know. I'm sorry for yelling. I'm sorry for getting heated, but I had to get it off my chest.
Listen, I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking right now. Does anybody else get turned on when Mark gets angry? Is that just me?
Baby.
Oh, baby.
But go FlyQuest. Yeah, FlyQuest.
So, right, Group A done.
Group A is done.
Sunning, they're going on.
Mm-hmm.
Group C, TSM, non-factor. You're
non-factor.
calling Gen G Fnatic.
Right.
Group D, you're calling top esports for sure.
For sure.
You're calling a tiebreaker between DRX and FlyQuest.
Yep.
FlyQuest winning the tiebreaker to take second.
That's my NA pride.
Okay.
My NA pride.
Now, what about Group B?
All right, yeah, we haven't talked about Group B.
Yeah, so we have Damwon 3-0. JD Gaming 2-1.
Right.
Rogue is 1-2, and PSG is 0-3.
Okay, so this is gonna be
non-factor.
Yeah, this is similar to Group. Okay, kind of similar to Group C and Group D. Damwon is for sure first place. PSG is a non-factor, so it's gonna come down between JDG and Rogue. If Rogue can beat, I still think JDD is going to be second. As much as I like Rogue, I like their playstyle. I don't see them beating JDG twice, and I think they're going to end up third, and JDG is going to be second. Okay. That's how it's going to end. Yep.
That one was short and sweet and to the point, dude. You know why? Because there's no NA to fucking ruin us.
Guys, I love League of Legends, and I love NA League of Legends, and I have been a fan, and I support them since I've, known of League. And just to see them fail so hard when I support them so full-heartedly. I mean, it's the same with everything else I love. Like, I love the Eagles. Michael loves the Eagles. But when
fucking talk about the Eagles, my guy.
When they fail hard, me and Mike are the first people who will be like, we fucking suck.
Yeah,
What the
no,
fuck
you're
is our
right.
secondary doing?
Yeah.
This is fucking bullshit. And it's just like that because I care so much. I want them to play with their full hearts. And when I watched TSM play, and even Team Liquid on their first day, it just felt like they were flubbing themselves out there. They were just coming out, laying it on there, and then just walking over to die, falling over to die. And Team Liquid rectified that this morning. They played a fantastic game against Sunin, a fantastic game, a completely dominant game against Machi. Like, that's how every game should have been against Machi. Team Liquid, just gonna throw that out there. And it gave me hope for them. And I was happy to be a TL fan. You know, an NA fan, be like, hey, that's my team, you know, right there. You see how we dismantled Sunin and Machi Esports? That's my team. That's my son right there, you know? But watching TSM play, I'm just like, you know, I don't where's my bag? Where's my bag? Yeah. Somebody give me my bag. And it's really sad because I'm the first person to say I hate TSM. But whenever they're at Worlds, I will root for them the same way I root for Team Liquid and FlyQuest. But when they put on performances like that, it's hard to even say, go TSM. It's hard to even look at them. That's it. That was my piece.
I don't know how we're going to transition away from that, my guy.
Michael's scared.
Dude, I'm like... Dude, to me, I've known you 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The most passionate I ever see Mark is when he talks about League.
So you know what else can scare you, Michael?
What else can scare you, Mark? Besides the state of America.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
Thank you. I'm leaving. Thank you.
Holy shit! Okay. So you guys know, this is October. Spooktober. Ultra spooky time. I love October. I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. This is probably my favorite time of the year. Yeah, dude. I love all the spooky shit, all the horror games, all the horror movies. Everything is scary. And starting last week, we were showing or telling spooky stories that me and Michael find on either just somewhere on if it's on Reddit or on some other site. We find these spooky stories. And we basically tell them and get them out there to you guys just to get into the Halloween spirit. And last week, Michael debuted this segment, and it is my turn to share my story. Yeah, Aaron is right. Last week was all Michael. This week is all me. So, without further ado, I hope you're ready, Michael.
Yeah.
I will be reading We Weren't Allowed to Talk to Women, found on the No Sleep subreddit. And I hope don't Omega lol AA Ron. And if you guys want to follow along, I will link it in chat. Wait, will I link it in chat? Okay, Michael's got it. Michael, link it in chat. Let me take a drink real quick. So if you want to follow along, if you are watching live on twitch.tv/cloudmark27, I will be reading from this, and this is No Sleep. This is from the No Sleep subreddit, and it's called "We Weren't Allowed to Talk to Women" by user / I think it's Solas. It's like S0LAS, so Solus. But without further ado, I was born into one of those old families of the South, the kind that has that has long silence toppled and decayed, attempting desperately to hold itself together. We'd had money, once, as evidenced by the grand old buildings that sat on our property, but the old barns and guest houses sat empty and abandoned, choked with cobwebs and weeds and Spanish moss. The forest had begun to reclaim the property. My family was like many others of its kind, a long, winding lineage marked with rape and slavery and pain. But one thing sets us apart. There were no women in my family. I had no mother, no sisters or grandmothers. Every member of my family was male. My 5 brothers and I never thought it was strange, though. We were uneducated and mostly separated from the outside world. Our days were spent laboring on the decaying property, all of our efforts inevitably useless. When we weren't plucking weeds or clearing out the decades of trash from the various buildings, we played. The quasi-wilderness of our home was a perfect stage for our games. My father was a kind man, but strict. Our self-contained life came with a strange set of rules. There was a chapel on the property, a small white thing half hidden in the woods. It was in better condition than anything else, due to my father's doting care. We were not allowed inside the chapel without him, however. A padlock on the door prevented us from sneaking in. We were, on occasion, allowed to go into town. It was a half-hour walk through the woods to get there, and excursions were highly anticipated. There were conditions, though. We had to stick together, and we weren't allowed to talk to women. We could talk to men and other boys, but my father strictly forbade us from talking to women, girls, even old maids. He instructed us to say hello, and good day, and yes ma'am, and thank you ma'am, like good little southern boys, but other than that, not a word. This was weird, of course, but everybody in town seemed to abide by these rules as well. The women would give us curt nods and avoid us otherwise. It was so ingrained into our daily lives that none of us even ever questioned it. It wasn't going to work forever, of course. My oldest brother, Jamie, started making eyes at the pretty girl who worked at the drugstore ice cream counter. She made eyes back. Soon, he was sneaking off to be with her during our visits. He would leave my brothers and I at the drugstore or the park, buying our silence with penny candy and ice cream. Jamie's little tryst didn't last long, though. Laszlo, the second youngest, had always been loose-lipped. One day, when we came back from town, our father asked us what we did. "Jamie snuck off," Laszlo blurted. "He always goes and sneaks off to that ice cream girl." Pa's face grew very pale. He turned to Jamie and seized him by the shoulders. "Is this true?" he asked in a voice that was much too quiet. "Oh, you seeing this girl? Are you seeing a girl?" A tense silence hung over us. Jamie opened his mouth, closed it. "Jamie, come join me on the porch," Pa said icily. My father never hit us, I want to make that clear. But when he was truly angry or upset, he had a way of talking that cut you to the bone. It made you feel like absolute dog shit. When I was really little and got in trouble, I would hide and cry for hours afterwards, consumed by guilt. Jamie and Pa went onto the porch. The rest of us dispersed throughout the house. The happy mood of the day soured. For a couple of weeks afterward, we beat on Laszlo especially hard. Gave him the worst rolls in our games, and after that, he mostly kept his mouth shut. Jamie returned with a pale face. He didn't talk to any of us until the morning, where he tried to act like nothing had happened. I had caught him alone that day. I tugged on his sleeve and asked him, "What did Pa say to you the other night?" Jamie looked down at me. His face suddenly seemed very old, but he gave me a weak smile and tousled my hair. "None of your business," he said. "Don't worry about it." I wasn't in the habit of displeasing my older brother, so I went along with my life. The next time we went to town, the ice cream girl batted her eyes at Jamie, but he stared straight away from her, and she frowned sadly. She wasn't as nice to us after that. There wasn't much else to say of my childhood. It was unique, surely, but we had always lived our lives that way. I was not the questioning type. Our existence continued rather uneventfully for years. My brothers and I cleaned old houses that would never be occupied, and weeded yards that would never be used. Forests grew in faster than we could pluck. Then came the day when Jamie turned 18. Birthdays were frequent in a family of 7, but turning 18? That was special, according to Pa. On the special day, Pa got us all up early and scrubbed our faces with a spit-wet cloth. He made us put on our best clothes, moth-eaten from disuse. He gave Jamie one of his old suits, and it hung baggy on his thin frame. Then we gathered in the chapel. Inside, the air was still and silent. I remember feeling disappointed at the sight of the perfectly normal interior. I always expected there to be some great, terrible secret that my father was guarding. But it was just an old chapel. We sat in the front pew, all in a row. Pa and Jamie hung at the back door. They exchanged some quiet words and then began to walk. They marched, arm in arm, staring stiffly ahead. They stepped in time to some silent rhythm. Slowly, they made their way up the aisle. My father bent behind the pulpit, and the sound of creeping wood broke the terse silence. He had opened a trap door. Pa and Jamie, still arm in arm, descended into the door. Downstairs, we couldn't see from our angle. My brothers and I sat uncomfortably in the pew, restless but still quiet. I felt a strange swelling sensation, like something enormous was happening that I couldn't comprehend. I channeled this by plucking wildly at the loose threads of my ill-fitting pants. My brothers and I sat nervously for a long while until Pa emerged again, alone. He shut the trapdoor behind him. "Time to go home, boys," he said. I wanted to ask where Jamie was, but my tongue felt heavy. Instead, I fell into step behind him, and we made a solemn procession back to the rotting mansion where we lived. Jamie was there the next morning, snoring in his bed next to mine. We all scrutinized him for some change, but he was the same Jamie he'd always been. The only answer to our questions we received was a hard sock in the arm when we bothered him too much. A few months later, Pa came into our room in the middle of the night. I had been lying awake, but I pretended to be asleep as he quietly roused Jamie and led him out the door. I dozed very lightly, only to be reawoken when I heard them coming back up the stairs. Jamie made his way to his bed slowly. In the faint moonlight, I could see that his shoulders were shaking. He crawled under the covers. I could hear the muffled sound of him sobbing. After that, Jamie was different. He was withdrawn and angry. He stopped playing with us and was quick to yell. There was an angry tension between him and Pa. Even as young as I was, I knew the change had something to do with the strange place in the chapel. I wouldn't have to wait long and find out the secret of our family. After all, I was the second oldest. My birthday came that November. I remember every second of that day. Pa woke me before my brothers. He brought me into the master's suite where he spent the nights of his lonely existence. The room might have once been grand, but now the walls were ashy with cigarette smoke, and it smelled like stale living. The bedsheets were rumpled on only one side. It made me sad to think of Pa sleeping alone every night in that huge, moth-eaten bed. Pa dressed me in the same suit that Jamie had worn. It fit me a little better. I was fuller and shorter than he was. I looked in the mirror and felt a flash of pride. I was a proper gentleman for once, like those clean-cut men in the old magazines we sometimes found while cleaning. No longer a dirty-faced little boy. Pa stepped back after fixing my tie, his eyes shining. Harsh line of his mouth wobbled as he rubbed his thumb across my cheekbone. "I'm so proud of you," he said, and hugged me. My chest swelled with warmth and pride. We walked through the woods to the little white chapel. It was cool, and the woods were alive in red and orange. My brothers gathered in the pews, while Pa and I waited outside the doors. He looped his arm through mine and looked at me. "Just follow my lead," he murmured, patting my arm. His words soothed me. The doors of the chapel swung open on their own, and the sound of church bells echoed through the woods. Though the rusty bell in the tower sat still. But I wasn't afraid. Okay, I read that really bad, but we're going. Pa walked me down the aisle towards the empty pulpit. We walked in time to the toll of the bells, something I realized only the two of us could hear. My brothers whispered and fidgeted in the pew. Jamie sat at the far end, staring straight ahead, his eyes dull and back stiff. We ascended. Behind the pulpit lay the secret trap door, ancient and moldered. Pa gave the rusted brass ring a mighty pull, and it opened with a creak. Before us lay a stone staircase, riddled with cracks and dappled with moss and mushrooms. The shallow stairs led into the dark. For the first time that day, I felt something other than anticipation and pride. I was afraid. But I think, looking back, that I would have been able to leave. I wouldn't have been able to leave. I would have been unable to leave if I tried? Okay. Pa and I walked carefully down the stairs. He still held tight to my arm. We emerged into an earthen tunnel, tall enough for us to walk upright. The roots from the ceiling brushed our heads. For a moment, we stood still. There was a strange sputtering sound. and a breeze blew from the darkness ahead. That should have been impossible, as the tunnel seemed to only go deeper into the ground, but as the breeze came, so did light. Alcoves had been scooped into the earthen walls, and tens of candles suddenly burst to life in their wax-filled recesses. I jumped as the sudden light revealed hundreds of moths. They took off, excited by the flame. Their soft wings flapped and brushed against my cheek. As Pa and I walked down the tunnel, my apprehension grew. I started shaking. Pa stood resolute by my side, his presence steadying. I don't know how long we walked in silence. The tunnel was not without its own sound. The pop of fat from the candles, the drip of moisture from the ceiling, the tamping of our shoes and the fluttering of moths' wings. They landed on my shoulders and my head, and bounced off my face often. I wanted to ask Pa where we were going, but yet again, I stayed silent. Soon I became aware of a faint, sweet smell. Almost at the same time, the candlelight revealed a door. Moths were clustered around it so thickly that it appeared the frame was made of a canvas of pale, shivering wings. Pa turned to me. In the flickering candlelight, the hollows of his face were cast in sharp relief. He looked more like an ape than a man. "This is where I leave you, son," he said. He put his hands on my shoulders. "Don't be afraid. You won't be hurt. I promise. Just do what nature tells you to do." He saw that I was shaking, and he laid his hand on my face. "This is our family's legacy, Eli. Jamie did this. I did this. My father before me did this. It's as old and ancient as our blood. Older, even. Nothing is gonna harm you." Okay, I choked out. My father smiled wanly, then turned and left me before the door. He disappeared back the way we came, and I was alone. Cautiously, I pushed open the stone door. The moths fluttered away from it, forming a cloud that I had to bat away to see. The chamber that I emerged into was huge. The walls were lined with hundreds of alcoves with candles burning bright. More candles are spread across the floor. Across from me, there was a great white bed, surrounded by gossamer curtains. The sweet smell was overpowering, undercut by something primal and funky, like body odor. Then the bed moved. From its side unfolded pairs of strange appendages. I struggled to comprehend what I was seeing. They were arms, human arms, ending in human hands, but they bent in too many places, and they were too long and pale. Long tendrils like feathers flared from their elbows. It wasn't a bed. It was a person, perhaps in the loosest sense of the word. Its body was huge, white and bloated. What I had thought were pillows were actually huge pendulous breasts, bare of nipples. The swell of the bed's comforter was a huge stomach, sagging down to the ground in ripples of white flesh. As I watched, a pair of arms reached to gently part the gossamer curtains, like a bride lifting a veil. Its face, how to describe its face? Once, cleaning trash out of our house, I found an old china doll. It had a puffy, exaggerated expression of innocence, though time had worn the paint from its face and gave it only the barest imitation of humanity. The creature's face looked like that doll, but its eyes were large and bulging and completely black. Most notably of all, from its forehead sprouted a pair of long, feathery antennae. They were as long as its arms, reaching toward the high ceiling. They waved back and forth gently like ferns. As I took it in, stunned by the wrongness of it all, the creature smiled at me. Its pale, fleshy lips parted, revealing a drippy black mouth with no teeth. And then it spoke. "Hello, sweet Elias," it said. The voice was so wrong. The intonation and words were clearly English, the voice feminine, but it had a weird buzz to it, and a thick quality like someone speaking with their throat blocked. I was somehow able to find my own voice. "What are you?" I asked. "How do you know my name?" A strange buzzing and clicking noise came from the creature. The fat on its body rolled like waves, and the toothless mouth gaped wider. It was laughing. "I am you," it said. "You are the fruit of my loins. I birthed your brothers, your father and your father's father, and his father before him. I know every inch of you, your flesh, for it grew and pupated within me. Now the time has come for you to give of yourself, so I may have your son." I understood almost immediately. I felt a mix of horror and revulsion. but it was far off suppressed. The sweet smell filled my nostrils. It made my head swim. My skin was hot and itchy in the ill-fitting suit. I should have been terrified. I should have been disgusted. I am in retrospect, but I was under the spell of the creature, the scent of its pheromones too powerful for my brain to comprehend. In that moment, I knew that my body served a singular purpose, and I knew what that purpose was. And I was before the creature. Its many arms petted my hair, my body, my face, the soft feathers tickling me. It cooed and spoke to me as I climbed on top of it, my body sinking into its soft and yielding flesh. I laid on its stomach, its bosom as my pillow, lying against its skin, though it was tacky like dough. I felt a comfort I had never known, nor had ever known since. I was safe. I was swaddled. I was loved. It wrapped its spindly arms around me. Its buzzing words of encouragement burrowed into my brain like worms. Then I began to move my hips, and I was in heaven. I'll spare you the mechanical details of the coupling. Me recalling having sex with a moth monster who was also apparently my mother and grandmother is just as traumatizing as you reading about it. But what I must say is that I've never felt pleasure like that since. I've never once felt so held, so loved, and so safe. I know now that I wasn't in my right mind. Recalling it makes me nauseous, but there are still nights I jolt awake feeling a ghost of that heavenly pleasure. But for a moment, I grieve that I'll never feel it again. I don't know how long I was in the chamber with that thing. I vaguely remember dressing myself slowly, still drunk from the pheromones in the air. I remember the creature rubbing its belly as I left, followed by a cloud of moths. I slept dreamlessly for hours and hours. Over dinner, I made eye contact with Pa as I was shoveling spaghetti into my mouth. He beamed at me proudly. I felt good. But Jamie was looking at me also. He didn't return my smile. His mouth was now permanently set in a grim line. As the encounter with the moth creature faded like a dream, Jamie continued to bother me. Had he experienced the same heavenly pleasure I'd had? Sure, there were lingering dregs of fear, even disgust at what I'd done, but if everyone in our family had done it, what's the harm? It was our legacy, after all. More time passed, and my confusion turned to anger. Jamie barely interacted with us anymore. Did he think he was somehow better than us? Did he think that his feelings made him separate from the family somehow? I never got the chance to confront him. He came to me. It was about 5 months after my 18th birthday. Life had continued as normal, but one morning when we woke, there was a strange feeling in the air. I made a comment about it to my brothers, but they just looked at me blankly. As we went about our chores, I felt strangely happy. We were walking out of one of the old guest houses when Jamie grabbed me roughly by the arm and pulled me away. He was nearly nose to nose with me, and his eyes were bright and wild. "You listen good now, Eli," he hissed. "Why the hell do you think Pa never let us talk to girls in town?" I looked at him in confusion. "That thing in the chapel," he continued, "it doesn't want outside competition. It gave birth to us all, boys, but can't control the gender of the baby it makes. Why do you think there are no girls in our family? What do you think happens when one is born?" The beginnings of dread began to creep up from my stomach. "Yours is coming today," Jamie continued, his mouth turned to a scowl. He let go of the vice grip on my arm. "For your sake, I hope it ain't a girl." His face fell. I wasn't so lucky. Before I could say anything, he was gone, stalking off after the rest of our brothers. I stood staring after him. As night came, my dread grew. Gone was my pleasant mood from before. Night found me sleepless as I stared at the ceiling for hours. When the door creaked open, I knew it was Pa. He came to my bedside and motioned for me to join him. We made our way through the dark woods to the chapel. The bad feeling was everywhere, soaked into the very air. The creatures of the night were silent, and it was cold. The chapel stood a white smear in the darkness. We went inside. The floorboards seemed to vibrate, and when Pa opened the trapdoor, I heard it. A terrible, buzzing wail full of anger and pain, punctuated by inhuman squeaks and growls. I heard the sounds of animals in pain before. This was like some sort of horrible symphony of all those cries. I recoiled at the sound, standing rooted to the spot. I looked at Pa to see if my horror was reflected in his face. It was, to some extent, but over it lay a veneer of hardness. I realized then that Whatever was happening was no mystery to him. He had probably experienced it 100 times before. He took my arm and practically dragged me down the tunnel. The moths were flapping around wildly, diving at us and bouncing off the walls. A few of them flew into the candle flames, their feathery wings burning as fast as paper. The screaming got louder. We came to the chamber. The creature was in the same spot, but this time its body was rippling like a wave. Some of its arms were braced on the walls and floor. The sweet smell was gone, replaced by that of blood and viscera. The creature's puffy doll face was twisted in a horrifying mask of pain and rage. Spittle flew from its black mouth as it wailed, the sound bouncing around the chamber. Its antennae swiveled wildly around its head, every feather twitching and shaking. At the sight of us, its pallid face contorted further. "Levi!" It bellowed my father's name. "What have you wrought? The fruit of your loins beget me only curses!" I was transfixed by the creature's rippling body, bile rising in the back of my throat. It was pushing something out, I realized. A dark puddle was forming on the floor beneath it. My father moved toward the creature like he was meant to comfort it. A pair of arms sideswiped him with surprising strength, sending him careening into the wall. He tripped over the candles. The creature let out a deep, throaty groan. Its body gave one more powerful ripple, then there was a wet noise as something dropped to the floor of the cave. What lay before me was, essentially, a cocoon. It was roughly watermelon-sized, white, and it glistened with fluid in the light. The creature's screams died into rattling breaths. As I watched the cocoon begin to tremble, the tiny red fist tore its way through the gauzy membrane from the hole, and I heard a cry, weak and plaintive. It was a baby. Something came over me. I somehow knew that the baby was mine. I'm sure others can tell better stories of parental instincts kicking in. But that's what happened to me at that moment. While my father and the creature struggled to recover, I knelt down and began ripping the cocoon apart, trying to free the baby within. The cocoon had the texture of spider silk, thin and sticky. It dissolved at my touch. Soon the baby was free. Its skin was red and blotchy. It looked like a lumpy potato, but its face and cry were wholly human, and I held it in my hands. I could feel the very gears of the world turning. My fate was changing. "Elias!" the creature rasped. I looked up at it. Its expression had relaxed, its black eyes grown wide and shining. Reflecting the candlelight, its antennae had calmed, resuming their slow and gentle waving. It reached its nearest pair of arms out to me. "Bring it to me!" it demanded. I lifted the baby in front of me and realized with sudden dread that something on it was missing. The baby was female. The creature's arms strained for the baby, and I instinctively clutched it to my chest. "Why?" I asked. "It is a usurper," the creature spat. "It is a curse, and the labor was long. I am hungry." It licked its lips, leaving behind a film of gray spit from the black tongue. Jamie's words came back to me then, and I realized that he was right. Paul had gotten to his feet. He clutched his side, clearly hurt, and his clothes were singed from candle flames. Just give it to her, son. It'll be over soon." I looked down at the baby. It was crying and squirming. It grabbed onto my shirt as tightly as it could, its little fist balling in the fabric. For the first time in my life, I made my own decision. I turned away from my family, and I ran. I held the baby tightly to my chest as I sprinted into the tunnel. My father called after me, but his voice was drowned out by a buzzing wail that grew in volume until it seemed a physical thing. A wave pushing me out, moths bounced off my face. As I ran past the candles, they blew out, filling the tunnel with darkness. I thought I heard my father's scream, a sound of terror beneath the creature's anger. I don't like to think about it. I left our property towards town, the baby still bawling loudly. Finally, I had to stop running, my lungs burning and my legs cramping. I have never been as afraid as I was limping through the dark forest. My daughter's cry is a dead giveaway to any who would follow, but nothing did. I walked through the town, knocking on doors until someone answered. My daughter's sobs had tapered from a steady stream to quiet whimpers, and I knew she needed care soon. The ice cream girl answered the door, her hair mused with sleep. Mused? She took in the sight of me, recognizing me immediately, and her eyes widened at the baby in my arms. "Please help us," I croaked. It was the first time I had spoken to a woman, really spoken. Shirley's family took care of me for a while. They taught me how to care for my daughter, how to change diapers, and prepare formula, and burp her. I never left their house for fear of seeing my family. I was there for only a week or two, then my daughter and I hit the road again. We went from town to town, surviving on the kindness of strangers. It's usually women who ended up helping us. I met all kinds of women, women hardened by the world, bitter ones, gentle ones, fiery ones. They taught me about the world, about all the things I'd been missing. When we were far enough north that I felt safe, I began trying to settle down. My daughter was growing into a healthy, fat little toddler. She was the axis on which my world turned. Everything I did for her. Eventually, I named her Deborah, Debbie for short. I found a decent job with on-site daycare for Debbie. Back then, it was a little easier to provide for a child than it is today, I won't deny. But I still worked myself to the bone. His easiest way to chase away the shadows that plagued my mind. I had lovers here and there, both men and women, but nothing lasted. Sex was difficult for me, considering what I had been through. I always felt disgusting afterwards, always unable to ignore the simple fact that I would never feel as good as that. And that knowledge made me feel like a monster. Eventually, I stopped trying to feign interest in sex, and I was happier for it, but it meant that I never got into a real relationship. I didn't need a relationship. I had Debbie, and as the years passed and she grew bright and smart and funny, the shadows of my past seemed farther and farther away. But I was a fool to let myself be comforted by time. I cannot escape the curse of my blood, no matter how far I run. Yesterday was Debbie's 14th birthday. Today, she locked herself in the bathroom in the morning, crying for hours. When she finally let me in, I could barely contain a scream, because there, bursting from my daughter's forehead, was a pair of long, feathery antennae. That was it. Shit! So,
Dude, my mama said never talk to women.
my mama said never talk to women. Woo! Yeah, man, the South is weird. Yeah, dude, the South is weird. As someone who lives in the South, I can confirm that this is a common occurrence.
I don't know about that one, bud.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know what you guys got in the shed, but I don't know about that.
But I love that the first comment to this is, dude, when the actual fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that story.
It was good, dude. It was really good.
Yeah. I read it this morning and I was like, shit, well, I gotta read this one. And it was yeah, it was good. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I know I certainly did. I certainly enjoyed it.
I did stumble over a couple parts, but yeah.
It's all good, dude. Let's be honest, dude. Who reads anymore?
Yeah, who even reads?
I am so unliterate, dude. I don't read.
I know Crimson and Cruel really liked it. They're all about those hot moth girls, am I right?
That they're all about the lewd family incest drama.
Exactly. That was a story.
I think I saw an anime like that once.
Oh, baby. I think I'll skip this one. You're not into Moth Girls, Kuro?
All right. Well, Mark, thank you for reading that story. It's really good.
I had fun. Yeah, it was great.
Just, Mark, you're into some weird shit, but that's all I got to say.
You right.
All
but
right,
it is 2020, so we don't kink shame.
It is 20. Yeah. Yeah, like I always say, as long as
it's legal. Yeah.
As long as it's not illegal, you're good.
But
I think that's gonna do it for us tonight, Mark. Unless there's something else you wanted to.
I'll probably be playing Phasmo or after this. You guys are interested in that?
Whoa! A little Southern drawl came out there, buddy.
Interested in that? Because I was just reading that Southern ass story.
All right, guys. Well, if you're watching live on Twitch, stick around. Mark's gonna be playing some Phasmophobia. Almost called it something else. That would have been bad.
Oh yeah.
As always, guys, thank you so much for checking out tonight's episode of We Digress, the podcast. It's a hot mess. If you're interested in listening to past episodes, you can listen to those on your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can go to anchor.fm/we digress to look at all of our previous episodes. You can support us by going to anchor.fm/support. No, I'm sorry, anchor.fm/we digress/support and donating as little as 99 cents a month to this scuffed ass podcast. You can follow Mark on Twitter and Instagram. He is at cloudmark_. On Twitch, he is cloudmark27. I am Mike Madran and the number 0 on all of those platforms. Yeah, guys, it's been real nice. I'm enjoying the spooky stories. And if you were here on the Twitch stream before we actually started, we'll catch you all next time.
Oh.
Bye.